Hey there, my friend. Perry Tinsley here. Welcome to another Power Blast podcast where we provide nourishment for the soul, allowing you to transform from the inside out, providing rapid results in mindset and fitness so that you can recharge that mental and physical battery of yours and reclaim your power. And today, I have a special guest again. How about that? Jen Underwood is amazing. She is a driven and passionate entrepreneur. She helps others transform their lives in confidence and being courageous and strong and abundance and just truly experiencing a life of freedom. She's an award-winning author, which is really cool. We're going to talk about that book today. And we dig into the power of gratitude. And you're going to absolutely love this because we do talk about grief and its impact on health. And I love how she says this, honoring the love more than the loss. We'll dig into that and just strategies to empower yourself in all areas of life. So get ready for a power-packed interview, and I look forward to hearing your top takeaways. You can drop those down in the comments. Let's get to that interview. You are in you're going to have a really great treat today because I have a great friend on, Jennifer Underwood, and we'll dig into how I met Jen. And I'm so glad that she's on the Power Blast podcast. I'll tell you a little bit about her, but Jennifer, I want to welcome you here.
Thank you. I'm so honored to be here, Perry. I love that you asked me, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited to spend the next little while with you here.
Super, super pumped. We are going to talk about some probably pretty intense stuff today that you'll want to lean into, particularly if you're a pet lover. We aren't only going to talk about pets. We'll talk about some other things, but I think the pets can really help you learn a lot of things. Jen she's a gratitude and abundance coach, a client enrichment coach with Kathleen Cameron through the Diamond Academy. That's actually how I met Jen.
Yeah.
She's an entrepreneur and a multiple best-selling author. That's really cool. I didn't even know multiple, so that's really pretty neat. How I met Jen, Hillary and I were looking to, I don't know, there was like this part of, I don't know, it was part of live or some sort of thing that we're wanting to help our clients and really connect a lot of things within ourselves. And it just came at the right time to be a part of a community, and Jen is our empowerment coach. So that was just such a great ride. It still is. So many neat people in there, and we've learned and grown so much with ourselves. Jen here, she's a driven, passionate entrepreneur, loves helping others transform their lives, and that's what we had. We had a major transformation. And just helping others gain confidence and to be courageous, strong, abundant, and truly living a life of freedom. Yes, I had that written down. It sounded like I memorized it, I would say, man, that was really solid. I did want to make sure that I covered everything because you do some amazing things. But and one thing we'll talk about today is we want to dig in today because Jen created a special journal after the loss of her soulmate child, her fur child. I want to make sure that we know that Presley. And you even became a certified pet loss grief mentor or counselor.
Yeah, pet loss grief mentor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So let's dig into some of this, and the reason why is because if any of you out there have lost a pet, that's a very, very difficult time in life. You hope your pet just lives like forever. And we lose that, and sometimes there's that grief and that impact on your life. Just before we were talking, I was talking about the loss of my German Shepherd, but Jen, just dig in a little bit. How. What was the journey there? And we'll talk about some other things, but let's just dig into, what you went through with Presley and how the lessons that you learned going through that.
Awesome. I will. Sure. Start out with the tough stuff, so you'll get
Yeah,
me
well,
crying
you
at
know
the
what?
beginning.
Yeah.
That's okay. First of all, I want to say it's such an honor to know you and Hillary, and watching your journey and growth in our community has just been really beautiful. And then the friendship that we've made over this year as well has been really, really beautiful. Right back to my birthday, when you guys phoned me on FaceTime and saying happy birthday to me. So I really, really value that connection that we've made. Most of all, though, being able to, for you to reach out and ask me to be able to speak about, pet loss grief, is something that I really, really value, because I want to bring it to the forefront that it's a real thing, that pet loss grief is a real thing. And it's something that people, really go through. And, a lot of people are made to feel like you shouldn't be able to talk about it, that you shouldn't be able to grieve it. You should just get over it. You should move on. Are you going to get another dog? Are you, all these feelings? And I'm bringing it to the forefront that it's okay to go through grief and heal through it and talk openly about it. I'm talking openly about it, no matter what people think. So it's been part of my healing journey that I call. And so I'll tell you a little bit about Presley for everybody that's listening, because yeah, he was my soul dog, just like you said, Perry. I don't have children. I've never had children. Not that that means anything. Even people with children have strong connections with dogs, but it just kind of puts in perspective that he was kind of my everything. And I wasn't married at the point when I got Presley either. So, and Presley lived to 16 years and 8 months. So he was almost 17 years with me. So he was like, he slept in my bed. He was with me in my car. Like, he was everywhere, like almost like my shadow, like a piece of me, like a limb almost, right? He did everything with me. So we had a beautiful, beautiful connection. He was a beautiful little guy, a Shih Tzu Maltese, and he lived a really good life. It was beautiful. So it wasn't that I didn't know his time was coming. It's just I knew that it would be hard. But one of the things I'm really grateful for is that 2 years before, maybe a year and a half before losing him, I connected in a community where I met you guys too, really connected to my spirituality. And I grew through that by finding gratitude every day. And the day after I said goodbye to Presley, or sent him to heaven, I immediately went to gratitude, even through my darkness and devastation, of course. I immediately knew I had to go to gratitude. And I just started writing out gratitude. And the weeks passed, and I was like, there's something to this. This tool is helping me heal. And other people need to learn to be able to heal and find gratitude through grief. And but I remember one day sitting there and thinking of some of the tools that I'd learned in our community, our coaching community. And I was like, I was feeling really, what word can I use? I was in despair. I was very sad, even though I was finding gratitude. I was like, there has to be something I can say to myself every single day to really help me through this. And I found this beautiful affirmation. And I know, Perry, you know what affirmations are, because you work with them with your clients too, right?
Yeah.
So I found this affirmation, and it was, I honor the love more than the loss. I honor the love more than the loss. And I printed that thing out and I stuck it to my fridge. So every day when because I still had to work, right? So when I was on my Zoom calls or whatever, and I had these waves of grief coming or whatever, I'd look at that printout and I'd be like, I honor the love more than the loss. And quickly I was like, I need to bring this to the world. And I created a journal. I reached out to a publisher that I'd worked with on a joint venture 6 months prior, a joint author project that I'd done. And I just said, this is my idea. This is what I'd love. And she actually had lost a pet when we were working on our passbook together. And so I knew that she would relate to what I wanted to do. And it happened, her daughter's name happened to be Presley too. So there was a few connections that were it was beautiful. Anyways, I reached out to her and I said, This is what I want to do. And when I put my mind to something, Perry, I said, you might notice, but when I put my mind to something, I want it done, and I want it done quickly, and I just want to go for it, right? So I reached out to her and I said, this is what I want to do. I want to bring a gratitude through grief journal to the world.
Mhm.
And can I have it done by May 15th? She said, that's a little bit like aggressive as far as timeline. I said, but can it be done? I wasn't asking if like, don't tell me it can't. How can we make it happen?
Yeah.
She said, if you can get this to me, we'll get it done by May 15th. May
Beautiful.
15th was the day that I got Presley 17 years ago. So that was Presley's gotcha date.
Okay.
So that's why I wanted that date. It was released on May 15th of this, of 2022. And it went #1 on Amazon in 5 categories.
Wow.
So I'm really proud of that. It's a little legacy of love, or big legacy of love that will live on forever, that I created for Presley, for me, for many other people. And I titled it Finding Gratitude Through Grief, How to Honor the Love More Than the Loss. So I put my affirmation there in the title.
Right
and,
there in the title. Yeah.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing, Perry, is even though I created it with the loss of Presley, which was a pet, what I realized is grief is grief. Everybody grieves. So I've had people reach out to me from all over the world who have lost spouses, who have lost children, so family members, people who have gone through divorce, women that have lost their breasts. Their grief is grief. There's different forms of grief. So the impact that this journal's having is greater than I even anticipated, because I thought it would just, help people through grief of a pet. So
How'd that make
I
you feel
really,
when that happened, when you started realizing its impact?
well, more grateful, honored that, and proud, really, really proud. And I knew that this was a legacy of love that Presley was leaving on the world through something that we created together. So
Wow. So I mean, that's so cool that it's had such a wide range impact, but of course it would. Now you've got a journal here. So why a journal? What's the power of journaling? And you referred to affirmations and gratitude. People hear about, oh, it's Thanksgiving, be grateful, that sort of thing. But
yeah.
what is this practice? And I'm going to say, within this podcast, if anybody's been listening over the years, they know that that's embedded. I've talked about journaling and affirmations and gratitude, but from you.
So, well, for me, automatically gratitude, it helped me kind of see, even though I was feeling a bit of darkness, it helped me see a little bit of light. I don't know if that sounds cliche, but it helped me feel the positive. Like on the days when you're feeling the depths of grief, the waves of grief. And I was grateful to be able to get out of bed. I was grateful to have a shower. I'm sure when people have lost, family members, they maybe had those feelings too. So even grateful for being able for the friendships, the people reaching out to me, just finding those little pieces of things to find great. It's not like you're going to be like, hey, the world is beautiful, everything is great. It's finding the little pieces of light through the darkness. And that's actually, it helped me. I'll show you this. I know that on a podcast, people won't see it, but you'll see it, Perry. So the cover of the journal,
you have to hold steady because it wants to, but I am going to put this on video. This will go on YouTube as well.
Oh, perfect.
Perfect. Yep.
So I know with my backdrop, it looks a bit funny, but
your backdrop, the palm trees coming through beautifully.
Right. This is the beam of sunlight coming in, and this is me standing on the shore where Presley used to run, and this is me wrapped in his blanket.
Oh,
so
wow.
this half of the blanket is wrapped around me, and the other half of the blanket we had wrapped around him that got cremated with him. So this is his Bucky, we call it, his blanket, Bucky. I called it a Bucky when I was a kid. So anyways, so that's the beauty of this picture, is that you're seeing the sunlight come in here. And so finding gratitude, every day just gives you that hope. every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And journaling is just a really beautiful way to put it out there. In there every day, as I go through, I write an affirmation. I still do it to this day. It's been 14 months since losing him, but you can journal every day.
Yeah.
The healing changes, the thoughts change, the feelings change, but journaling is still important. So I start out with an affirmation generally. So because I've been really working on working out, I talk a lot about my affirmations. I am strong, I am healthy, I'm an athlete. I'm on a healing journey. I still am. So I write down an affirmation for myself. And then I write down 5 things that I'm grateful for. And I always make sure when I'm writing my gratitude that I'm really writing it in the present moment. Like, I'm so happy and grateful now. I'm giving it feeling. I'm feeling it in the present moment. Not, I will be happy, I will be grateful. I'm so happy and grateful now. I want to feel it in the moment.
Yeah.
And I just write down what I'm grateful for. So whatever that is that day you're feeling, if it is you trying to find the little pieces of light coming through, that's beautiful. But if you've been through the journey and you've reached a different stage, it might be other things. You might be working on goals for your podcast or for your business, or through with relationships, whatever it might be. Your goals will change as you go. And then I also have a piece in there about self-reflection, which I find really important every single day. At the end of the day, Perry, I always say, what did I do well today?
Okay.
What did I do well? And especially through the grieving and healing journey, what did I learn about myself through reflecting on that? So I did this.
Wow.
I was really good at this today. What did I learn about myself? So is this something I need to work on a little bit more? Or you are a really strong person. You've got this. You're healing, whatever that is. What did you learn about yourself?
So
And then
what did you do well, and then what did you learn about yourself through that part of it? It's
yes,
expanding that more. Okay.
yeah, expanding it. And then what am I willing to implement towards this? So what am I willing to implement towards this awareness? So for example, I'll go back to maybe a stage in the grief. So what did I do well today? I went out for a walk and was able to go walk the path that Presley and I used to walk on. What did I learn about myself through reflecting on this? Reflecting on that, I'm getting stronger. The waves of grief still come, but I'm getting stronger every single day. And what am I willing to implement towards that awareness? So being aware that I'm healing, what am I willing to implement just to make sure that I'm continuing doing that on a regular basis? So that was just an example, but you can use that on anything throughout your day. What did I do well today?
Yeah.
So if you have a business or whatever it is, you can use those self-reflection statements or questions for anything, and they're really, really powerful. So I incorporated those in there. And then also in the journal, there is a place where you can write a letter to the person, the animal, the thing, whatever it is that you're grieving or that you've lost. There's a place that you can write a letter there. And then also some affirmations that you can reflect on and help you through as you go on that healing journey through grief. So, yeah.
A few things come up for me right here, and even thoughts. I mean, what a beautiful way to embrace the light, the love. And I think, I know everybody's different when it comes to grief. And I have to say, even when I lost my wife, or I've lost pets, the grief is different almost every time. It's like how I lose a coworker and I'm a sobbing mess at their funeral. My wife passes away and I'm stepping up and honoring and sharing, you move differently.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
and I think time shifts differently. I don't know if that's for everybody. But that was my experience. And so I think just even in the pet world, because my late wife and we co-founded a German Shepherd rescue, and in working with people that potentially going to either adopt or who had adopted and their pet had passed, some people bury the grief. They almost to a thing to where they don't even want to deal with it, because it's too painful. And so what a beautiful way to, I don't want to say work through it, but to shift in just little increments, to find those bright, because the pain is there because you had such a loving life with your, your pet, that is like, I don't want that to go away. At least I'm speculating here with
Yeah.
that. At least that's what my experience has been. And it's just really beautiful that you've got a way that, I don't want to call it an outlet, but it's,
No, it is for
but
sure. And
but
you
it
said
but
work
it is
through
a
it.
tool and a resource, and something that I think, if anybody's listening to this, and if you've ever, whatever your loss has been, if you've found that it's just been something you wanted to ignore and bury, and all sorts of things can be very, very challenging then moving forward. It can almost keep you stuck, but you don't know why. And when you
Yeah.
use a beautiful journal like this, even if you weren't to get super detailed, like you're writing your life story or anything, just little things that you notice within yourself, um, reflecting on pictures from the, moments. Video is huge. It is
Huge.
for a lot of people. So you're looking at video and stuff like that, and at the time, yeah, there's that sadness that pours through. But I think there's a beautiful point where, things start to shift for you, where you're embracing the love more than the loss.
Yes,
So,
for sure.
that really resonated with me, with what you said. And I for me, one of the things, it wasn't the journaling, but what helped me, I guess the thing for me, especially when I lost my wife, was how can I stay in control when life seemingly spun out of control?
Yes.
And so, and that's happened with pets, especially if you suddenly lose a pet. But even if you didn't suddenly lose a pet, there's that, that's, it's still very hard. And for me, it was exercise that I did. I didn't know about writing gratitude or affirmation or anything like that. It was just like, what I can do is control me, my
Yeah.
actions, things for me. And with this had I known at the time, it would be my thinking. What do I think about me, and how can I maybe shift a little perspective? Not that I'm burying anything, but seeing those amazing things. And that's
Yeah.
why when that time happened and we were planning the funeral, I'm like, this is not going to be your typical funeral. I'll tell you that right now. It's like, people come in, whatever, they're going to sit down, they're going to chat and visit and laugh, and there's going to be tons of photos all over the place, and we're going to have a celebrate, it's all this different thing. But it
Yeah.
was it was
Celebrate.
so I really resonate with what you created here, because there are those moments, yeah, we'll miss them, but they're within us.
Yes. And that's, if this had happened prior to my growth in spirituality and just recognizing that within myself, I don't know how I would have dealt. But actually feel, I
Mhm.
actually feel him in my
Yeah,
heart.
yeah,
So I totally, when you say that, right? And when you talked about, you know, you didn't want to say working through it, but it's a journey, it's processing, it's working through it. And you used exercise. I use my tools like my affirmations and journaling, because there's so many other things. People could go in the wrong direction when dealing with grief, right?
yep,
I even said to my family, I'm like, I want to make Presley proud. You could go down the wrong direction and take really bad care of yourself, and you go drink too much wine, whatever that it might be, right? But I said, I want to make Presley proud, even though and it comes in waves, right? I still,
yeah.
14 months later, I'll have a moment.
Oh yeah,
I'll have moments where I'd cry and I let myself feel it, because those people that hold it in, that it's not good for you either, because you need to be able to express. You need to be able to express your
yeah,
feelings and your grief. You need to.
yeah.
So
In my experience, when you start suppressing, it's not like I'm being a therapist or anything here, but what I notice is when you start suppressing things, then it's affecting your organs, and it's affecting your cells, and it's affecting your thinking and decision making, and it's just a lot of things. And I know it's really easy to say when you're on the outside and you're not the one feeling it at the time.
Yeah.
But if anything, if you're listening to this, or watching this, let this be the awareness for you to pay attention to yourself when those things happen, because a lot of times we just get to where we want to ignore it and just move on to it. Find a distraction. And it's really easy to find a distraction, whether it is the bottle, whether it is Netflix, whether it is, going down that path. And often when I tell my story, about, the day after, or when we, all the funeral stuff and everything's all done, I found myself at a crossroads, and I'm putting my hands out there as if there's a crossroads, right? But I found myself where it would be so easy to just give up, give in. There were moments where you have some really dark moments that end up happening. You catch yourself, hopefully, but it was boiling down to what is it within me that I can control? And there's a lot, but when you're going through like state of shock, or through this slow motion water, it almost seems, where everything's just kind of shifted on you. Sometimes it's hard to see, what can you control. It is the one day at a time. Sometimes it's just the next 10 minutes, what that means. But looking, giving yourself the opportunity to do a little journaling, or sit in gratitude, or sit in just a loving memory of going into some visualization. I'm sure tears will well up and things like that. But I just think it's really, really cool that when you're aware of it, then that you can do something about it.
Exactly. Yeah. You probably noticed this too in your journey, Harry, that, even immediately after the loss, it's, I'm not going to say easier right after than it is maybe a month after, because right when you have this loss, whether it's, a spouse like yourself, or a pet, or whatever, you have this outpouring of support. You have people bringing you flowers and cards and meals and checking in on you and all of this kind of stuff. And then the month goes by, and 2 months go by, and you're still in this grief journey, but the people around you are not. So recognizing and knowing that you need to have tools like this, because that outpouring is going to change. And we want those people to realize too, to keep saying our dog's names, keep saying our spouse's names, keep whoever's been lost, has passed away, passed on, whatever you want to say, keep saying their names, because we want to hear it. We want to talk about it. We don't want to not talk about it. It's not a bad thing. So I'm
no, I mean, you're empowering yourself to be your own support system. And you just took me to a moment in the movie Coco. Have you seen that, the Disney one, where you got to keep talking, keep the person's spirit alive, because
I don't know which one was it. Which movie?
Coco. It's a Disney.
Oh, I did
Disney
see
movie.
Coco. Oh, I love that movie.
Good movie. I'm not going to dig deep into there, but it is. And one of the things, I still feel the presence of my animals, the presence of my late wife. I don't even know I used the label late, I guess, to describe for somebody. But I do, when I need something, I can turn to, there's no doubt when I screamed at the universe, like, you owe me, and I'm never going to find anybody again that's this, not that I was looking for anybody anyway, but, and then Terry comes in, or Hillary comes into my life, a few years later. And so there's things like that, but I will feel the presence of, it's interesting. People might be listening to this and going, okay, Perry's kind of lost it, but
they're like, whoa.
I mean, I will lay on the bed, and I will feel paw prints. There's a spirit there walking over, laying down next to me. So,
Perry, I have a story.
yeah. You
And
have a
if
story?
people are like, these two are out to lunch, that's fine.
That's
But
okay. Yes.
we're
You go ahead and
not
think
the
we're
only
out to
ones.
lunch, but keep listening.
So I was sitting on the couch and I had my feet up on the coffee table, as you do, sometimes you rest them, and this was after losing Presley, but I was dog sitting my cousin's dog Jaxie, who I love. But anyway, that's beside the point. Anyways, I felt a lick on the bottom of my heel, like just a little tongue lick. And I went, Jaxie, and I looked down and he was not there. He was over with Paul.
Mm.
It happened. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh my God. And I do. And they say when you feel it or you see out of the corner of your eye that they're there. That's their spirit. And I choose to believe it, because why wouldn't I?
Yeah. They
Why
visit
wouldn't I want to believe these things?
dreams. One of my colleagues visited me in my dreams last night, so that was really cool. I had to yell at him because he was going across the street, so there was that moment. But anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I love that. And so the journey with this journal, and so how did becoming a pet loss grief mentor come about? And what do you do for somebody with that?
So I've only just recently, so first of all, I started taking a program because I was like, I need to help myself too, because I just needed somebody to talk to about it. And I found that I'm like, there needs to be more people openly talking about this. So I dug in a little bit to it and I was like, wow, I can really help people because I've been through it.
Mm-hmm.
And not saying I've grieved more than anyone else or whatever, but I know the relationship, I know the bond, the soul feeling of being connected to an animal, losing them. I know that I could help somebody and I could listen to somebody. I can't say I know how you feel because we all feel differently.
Mm.
I know what you're going through. No, we all go through it differently, but I'm here to listen, and I'm here to listen until you don't need me to listen anymore. Right.
Mm.
So yeah, I do one-on-one coaching or mentoring with them,
Mm-hmm.
as long as they need, whether it's 1 month, 3 months. And sometimes people, you're not going to recognize it right away, like, oh, I need to go look for support. It might even be a month or two
Yeah.
later, and you're like, hey, there's no right or wrong time of healing, but you might realize that I need a little bit more support than what I can do for myself. So I have people that maybe need a month, or some might need a year, but it's a one-on-one support through calls and my journal, and it's just that support that they need on their journey. So a little legacy of love is called Pet Loss Grief Mentorship, Finding Gratitude Through Grief,
Yeah.
based off my journal. So I'm really, really proud of it.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
What would you say are the biggest lessons you learned from Presley?
Oh boy. Well, I guess because I had him almost 17 years, I was in my, geez, how old was I? 48 now, Perry. I guess I was in my early 30s. He taught me, oh geez, well, about love for sure. I mean, I'm married now. But Presley was the only man that was in my life ever that long, besides my dad. So that's, I have a beautiful family, but Presley taught me about commitment.
Mm.
It's a commitment to have a pet. Taught me about love. Taught me about unconditional love. Taught me about responsibility. Taught me about loss now. So he's still teaching me.
Yeah.
Taught me about loss. Taught me about healing. And something I was aware of, wasn't as aware. So when he was alive, he was not officially an emotional support dog, but I've never told you this, Perry, but I've had in the past struggled with anxiety. I wouldn't say depression, anxiety.
Okay.
And but I didn't realize till after he was gone that every time I was anxious, I used him to calm me down. So then as I'm going through this journey of loss without him, I needed him to help me through that. So he's still teaching me now, because now I've learned how to deal with anxiety in other ways besides almost that addiction of needing him to help me. Now I know it's within me to help me through that. And so I'm grateful every day that he's taught me that I'm aware that I have the power within me to work through things and deal with things through my mind, through things that I do now without him here physically.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. And that was one of the podcasts I had done when I had lost Owen, was all these lessons that I had learned. That and I'm going to encourage you out there, if you've got a pet, let's stick with pets, but it could be, lessons you would learn from your children and things like that. Things that we don't often pay attention to is like, oh, I'm learning this lesson now, from my pet. I'm being taught. It's not that. But embracing and becoming aware of the things of how you feel or how you behave, or just even how their behaviors are and the impact that they're having on their lives, and that you, if you're really paying attention, that there are some amazing life lessons there,
Yeah,
that if you
totally.
embrace them and expand on them, then you've got just amazing growth, and all of a sudden life is even more abundant, and it's just ever expanding. And so that was one of the big things with Owen. And I was sharing with Jen before we were talking. um Owen was a very sick dog, and he stumped everybody, not knowing what he had. And it wasn't until after probably like 5 or 6 blood tests that Cornell University had identified it. But everything, all the stress that we went through in, like, taking him to Washington State University in Washington, and actually flying a vet from New York City, who I actually met because I drove Owen from Wisconsin to Philadelphia to have a procedure. Well, he was the
Beautiful.
guy. And so we flew him over there. So, but through all of that, just the relationships and the joy, and uh, just the I don't know how he did it, but people, when they just met Owen, they just like, oh my gosh, this dog. And I don't know. I mean, it's like he must have had just such an incredible energy. Of course, I would
Yeah.
always say that because he's my dog, right? But
Of course.
he's Owen, But when other people are feeling it, so if you're paying attention, and you can do it where it's not like, oh, now as I reflect and I'm missing my pet and I'm grieving. But if you can take the time now, as you in the your pet days, whether you're starting with puppies or you're going through with you're a senior pet, take the time to really lock into that. I think that can be some really cool things. And should you have a journal like Jen's here, well, then you can get that down and really. Now you've got not just a bank of videos and photos on your phone, but
Oh
you've got it
gosh,
you've
so
got it
many.
on the inside, and it can magnify so many other things in your life,
Yeah.
whether it's to do with another pet or a career or other relationships or things that you want to achieve. I mean, listen to what Jen just did here and the lessons she learned from Presley. And she's connecting with people all over the world and making an impact, this
Yeah.
way. Had
Yeah. I
she
want
just
I want people to know and feel comfortable being able to talk about it. No matter what type of grief you're going through. Just talk about it.
mm,
And yeah, I it's so important. So, so important.
yeah, so important. So it's been, a little bit of a time. There was some news that you dropped on social media the other day. What's going on?
Okay, so it's been 14 months since Presley left this physical world. That's the way I like to say it. And of course, people that don't know what to say, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna get another dog?" Like, I'm talking the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, don't ask people the next day.
Mm,
Don't send them pictures in Messenger about different dogs they can rescue.
yeah.
I'm saying, "Oh, you'd be such a good fit." Yes, yes, I would be, but I'm not ready. Right? And I would say, I might never be ready. Maybe I'll never want another one.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was like, why would I ever want to feel this way again? Because you're going to get one and you're going to lose it, right? This is me in the negative space.
Mm.
Like, why would I want to feel this way again?
Yeah.
As I've worked through my healing journey, and then really, Perry, you know this, I've really focused a lot on my mental health and so besides all the tools I use, the journaling and all that, I've really incorporated, good diet, exercise for the last, say 6 months. I don't know the exact time, but and it has helped me exponentially. And it's so important for mental health. Through that, I'm like, wow, this cloud is lifted. I'm like, my healing has sped up. So whether it's that plus the combination of the time passing or whatever, even up until 2 months ago, people say, oh, are you ever going to get another dog? And I would be like, no, I'm just not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. Not ready. So it went from, no, I might never, to I'm not ready, to, yeah, we probably will one day, but I just don't know when. It just changed how I was feeling. And then just one day I said to Paul, like 3 weeks ago, I was like, I think I'm ready.
Yeah.
He said, I think we are too. And so I found a little girl. There's a story to this. Do we have time, Perry?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Podcasts are about stories. That's the deal.
Right. Yeah. We talked about it, obviously, because when I got Presley 17 years ago, I was single. I didn't have Paul, so I didn't have to ask. Obviously, I have to check with my husband. I feel we're ready. He said we're ready. We're ready. But I think he thought, okay, well, we're ready, but might be 6 months from now. But as soon as he said Jen's ready, it kind of expedited. Anyways, I said, well, why don't we talk about what we both foresee in a dog? Like, what traits do you want, right? I didn't want to say, oh, this is what I want. I wanted to kind of hear. We both talked it through and decided maybe it'd be best to look for a little girl. So it's different than Presley. I think it took me a while because I never wanted Presley or me to feel like I was replacing Presley. But I do know there's that beautiful saying, and I love it, that you're never replacing them. You're just expanding your heart, right? You're expanding your heart to allow a little love in again. And so I'm really looking at it as that. And I think Presley would be really, really happy for us. So anyways, we're getting a little girl. She's a Shih Tzu Maltese Yorkie. She'll be about 10 pounds. So we wanted her to be different than Presley, but still little because she's going to travel with us. Anyways, we're going to name her Sunny with an I. So Sunni.
Sunny.
So reflecting back to what I talked about in the beginning about that little bit of sunlight coming in again. And your journey, that light, that hope, that love, that there's that sunshine. I'm feeling the sunlight come in again through grief. That so that's where
it's reflected on the cover of your book.
Exactly. So her name is Sunny, and she will be arriving on Valentine's Day. So we'll pick her up that day to start our lives together.
Poetic. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that you
Presley would be happy.
Yeah, who would? Yeah, going in your imagination and saying, "Well, who would be our ideal soulmate dog right now that could come into our lives?" And wow, very, very cool. I'm so happy for you guys, and of course, we'll be able to see all the pictures on social.
Yes, I do.
You're going to run out of film. Oh, wait a minute.
Well, I said, I sure wish that the amount of likes and comments I've got on it. I'm like, I sure wish I got that many comments and likes on business posts.
Exactly. Yeah. Got a workshop coming up. Come on now. Light up like a Christmas tree. Yeah.
Yeah.
One more thing. I mean, how has, so the last, that's one thing I did notice was, I think you and I had talked maybe this summer or something like that. We were talking about, just getting that momentum into, some sort of exercise routine, some sort of thing. And sometimes, whether you're going through something or even just deciding to start, sometimes it's the start that gets to be a challenge and hit and miss stuff. But the one thing I've noticed over the past several months is you're going over and over. I mean, you're really consistent with it. How's that going for you? And what sort of things have you noticed for yourself?
So when I went through the motions of like, I feel like this cloud isn't lifting quite as
Mm,
quick. Not like I said, there's no time frame, but I felt like it should be lifting a little quicker than it was. And I'm like, I need to do something. We moved into this beautiful new condo, and in our building, there's a gym. And I was like, well, let's just start going to the gym. And I got Paul to start going with me, which is really great. And within the first week, I was I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go, 3 days a week, start out gentle and slow. I don't have to go kill it. Um, it was more focusing around mental health. It wasn't about um weight loss or anything like that. It was about mental health. And I recognized very quickly the difference. And as soon as I noticed that, I started, so now I go I say 4 to 5 times, but it probably ends up being 5 to 6 times. But it's so important to me now. And I have a full focus on health and longevity. It's about health. It's about feeling good so that when things come up in your life, you're going to have contrast in life. You're going to have grief. You're going to have loss.
mm-hmm.
You need to be able to be your strongest version of yourself to be able to cope and deal with things so you can, because it happens. It's life. So now I knew how good that felt. Now there's so many beautiful things that happen along the way. I'm feeling good. I'm releasing some weight. But feeling good is the most important thing for me. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really, really good. And I'm just ready to move on to the next chapter of my life and continue the journey for sure.
Yeah, every friend of mine one time said to me, every decade better and better. And it's like, embracing that, you know, um, a lot of these things are within our control to make life so amazingly awesome.
Yes.
um,
Yeah.
there are many distractions that can really, like you said, contrast or make things a little more challenging or complicated or whatever.
Yeah, it's
And
life, right?
that's what I strive to do, is to help somebody recognize that they're putting their energy in the wrong, not the wrong spot, but in a spot that's not serving them. And
Yes.
so to where they want to be, where they verbally say they want to be and go, yet looking at the immediate, what's going on, the busyness, usually the overwhelm. And it's like, what, it just taking these little things like gratitude and journaling and just getting into moving your body, um and really making yourself a priority every day in those ways. The outer world and all those other conditions that you've been saying they're holding you back, they start to shift. And
Yes.
so I can tell you that all day, but you've got to experience it yourself. That's the thing. And so I applaud you for coming to that realization, because a lot of times we can read the things and we can see the proof in front of us, but until we're actually in it, um, that's when we start to feel the shift and notice the things, and then we're like,
Yeah. I had this awareness, Perry, and I was like, I don't want to cry anymore.
mm,
It's okay to cry a little bit, but I'm like, I don't want this feeling anymore.
mhm.
I want to make Presley proud. I want to make me proud. And that exercise has helped me so much. And so it's a lifestyle now. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah, keep embracing that, and it's just like, this is who I am now. This is the way I do things.
Exactly.
It will be so incredible on all the things that you go in for your, not only your life and the people you impact, um
Exactly.
will be magnified as well. Well,
Yeah.
Jen, I so appreciate you coming on here on the Power Blast podcast. How can people, where can people either learn more about you or find out about the journal or whatever? I mean, I'll post these links into the show notes, but for somebody that's just driving along, doesn't have a notepad, whatever, and just wants to remember, where can they
Yeah.
find you?
Awesome. Thanks for asking, Perry. I have a really easy name to remember. So if you're driving and you need, my name's Jennifer Underwood. If you look on Amazon and you look up Jennifer Underwood, my book's going to appear.
Okay.
Really easy. Perry will make sure you have the link so for Amazon as well. But you can also find, I love social media. I'm on Facebook under Jennifer Underwood. And then I'm on Instagram, Jennifer_Dawn_Underwood. So I'll make
Okay.
sure that Perry has those so you can connect. And I'd love to connect if you want to have a chat. If you're dealing with some type of pet loss grief and you want to chat, then let's have a chat. I'd love to support you on your healing journey as well. It's about, Perry and I met in the community, and it's about creating a ripple effect and helping people around the world in our own special ways and our own journeys. And that's what we're both here to do for anyone that's out there listening to this. Perry, I'm so grateful for you and for giving me this platform to talk openly about it. I'm really, really grateful.
No, so honored to have you on here. And just for those of you that have held on this long, and if you're watching on YouTube, Jen is not sitting on the beach in some sort of tropical island that is like a Zoom background. Jen, where do you live?
I'm in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. There's snow out my window. The beach is my manifestation. So this is where I live in my mind.
That's right. That's right. And hey, Hillary and I used to live in Calgary, and we were just talking beforehand, and we got to get up there.
Yes, come visit.
All right. Well, thank you so much. So glad to have you on here, and I'm sure that everybody got amazing value from this. Probably we'll go back and listen to it again. So
awesome. Thank you so much, Kurt.
That's another Power Blast podcast in the books. Thanks so much for tuning in. And remember, when you are ready to recharge your battery, make sure you go to talktoperry.com. That's talktoperry.com. That's Perry. And I want to listen. I want to hear, what's going on. I want to help you in that 15-minute call to recharge your battery and reclaim your power so that you're off and running and creating massive momentum toward your dream. Also, every day, I am delivering more motivation, support, tips, and strategies inside my free community with amazing people like yourself. And we are conquering the mindset and the fitness. I do 52 weeks of free training in there. Plus, I coach and I mentor people, as well as give you access to tons of resources and guides. It's called my Upside Down Fitness community because we work on a lot of mindset stuff, the inside stuff. And we're a fun group of people striving to make healthier habits in this awesome chapter of life. So make sure you get in there. I promise you'll absolutely love it. Just head over to upsidedownfit.com and you can get into the group. And hey, you would be an awesome friend if you get over to iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcast and leave an honest rating and review for the Power Blast podcast. It helps awesome people like you find the show even faster, and that's who I'm looking for, awesome people like you. That's all I have for this week, my friend, and just to let you know, you absolutely rock. That's all I have for this week. I'll see you on the next Power Blast podcast, and always remember, it's never too late. We'll see you next week.